Hi everybody! Sorry it's been a while since I've made a video for Patreon, but there were a few things that kind of were holding me back. Probably my brain, but also my computer wasn't working for a while. I actually had to buy a new one, and then it took forever to get it set up. My mom had her 85th birthday, which was exciting. I quickly want to share what that was all about too. Besides her birthday, New Mexico State University awarded her, finally recognized her, as the first female PhD candidate in the entire university. And she happened to be a mathematician. She got her PhD in math. She was there in 1959 to 1963, and then went on to teach there, and she was head of the department for 14 years. Ooh, I'll just read this. Here we go. Ready? Dr. Carol Lee Walker, New Mexico State University is proud to recognize you as the first female PhD graduate. August 1959 to June 1963. We are awed and inspired by your achievements. A PhD in mathematics, 1963, a research career spanning 7 decades, 14 years as department head of mathematical sciences, that was 1979 to 1993, and then acting assistant dean of graduate school for New Mexico State University, acting dean of graduate school, associate dean of arts and sciences, and director of arts and sciences research center. And she retired in 1996. Over 75 research articles, conference papers, and contributed chapters. So for her birthday, we finished putting together this huge, thick notebook of all her math research papers and articles, and publication of 10 books. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication on behalf of NMSU. You have set a high standard for generations to follow. We are honored that you are our first female PhD graduate. Signed by Carol Parker, Provost and Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs. Another female named Carol. So that was super cool. Mom was very surprised and excited. Now the main reason for this particular Patreon was that I wanted to let everyone know that my book is out again. Dog Ear had gone out of business, and so I had to find a new publishing company and get all that set up, and that can be a kind of a big deal that takes forever, but it actually went pretty smoothly once I finally picked who I wanted to use as far as a self-publishing company and get it going. So let's compare the two. First of all, I really like them because they saved my Amazon page. It's still there the way it was. The link might be slightly different because I've had a few people tell me that the link is broken. So it's just that the link has changed slightly, I guess. But you can still go to Amazon and search for it. So let's see. I like the new books better. So these are on Outskirts Publishing now. So Outskirts has a shinier, better cover than the old one. And what I like is that the hardcover underneath is blue with gold, and it's just so much nicer than the dog ear ones that were more papery and then were just kind of gray. So that's better. The new one actually kind of lies flat a little better. If you just like squish it down, it'll actually stay open. And here's the old soft cover, which I really always liked the soft cover, the way it felt. The new soft cover feels pretty much exactly the same. So I was really relieved. The one thing that I updated was my picture. Thank you, Della Olberding, for taking my picture in the backyard during COVID. You cannot get a real photographer. Okay. Oh, originally, speaking of my mom, when my book came out in the spring of 2016 was the same month that my mom and dad's last book came out, The Truth Value Algebra of Type 2 Fuzzy Sets, Order Convolutions of Functions on the Unit Interval. if you're into such things. And let's see. And thanks to John Harding, who is now department head of mathematics at New Mexico State University. John really helped a lot, along with his secretary, Dawn, to get the award going for my mom. I'm so happy that finally happened. So the thing is, Mom said back in the 50s, early 60s, it just wasn't a thing to announce, like, oh, you're the first female. It just wasn't really a big deal. You'd think it would be the opposite, but yeah, that was actually like, oh, okay, wow, as a woman, okay, well, I think no one really said anything. Now it's like, woo. Oh, here's a picture. Look at Mom. She looks great. I actually found the earrings that she wore. She still has those, but I couldn't find her glasses. Great. And then there's my dad. So when Mom first came to NMSU in '59, it was really perfect timing because my dad had gone there in 50 whatever, 6 or 7 or something, and then Sputnik was launched, and then all this money flowed in from the government for scholarships and grants and stuff. So the math department was able to just explode and get better and better all of a sudden. And so Mom got a scholarship that had to do with the fact that Sputnik had been launched. So when Mom's background was 100% music. So she showed up, after she got her degree in music, she showed up to New Mexico State University, and my dad was like the main professor there, I guess, who talked to her. He looks at her transcripts. 0 math. No math. He hands it back. This isn't helpful. But she went ahead and he told her, sign up for such and such classes and just see if you can handle it. And she did really well. My dad never said anything he didn't actually mean, and my dad would say, your mom was the hardest working student we ever had. So I know he meant that. So, yay! Most of you should have this already, because if you paid $10 or more, I sent you one in the mail. Or if not, or in either case, I would send a free copy of the PDF version of the book. So if you don't have it at all and you're watching this and you're interested, just ask me. I'll give you a copy of the PDF version, and then you can decide whether you want to buy it. I kind of model the book thing after the way I've always thought of music. So at least the way music evolved over the years, it just seems like I make just as much money if I offer it for free and say pay what you want. Obviously this is a hard copy, so it costs money, quite a bit of money. Sorry, the new one's a little more expensive than the old one. But they have to actually print it and mail it, so that costs money. But I'm happy to give away the PDF version, which is a much more clunky way to read it. And then I figure it's just like music. If people steal my MP3 somehow or get it for free and then they really like it, they usually end up buying the whole album anyway or whatever. So it works out. So, do you want to go through each chapter? Does anyone want to ever talk about the chapters? The cosmos. I kind of talk about just the cosmos in a pretty generic way. Hopefully I give my own spin on it, but it's just to get our minds warmed up. And if anyone has never thought about the cosmos, where we live, our home, it's always a good exercise to do that at least once in your life. And then I talk about the abstract part of the cosmos. Like, how do you think about it in an abstract way? That's usually how I think about it, because that's the way I think. More than I don't really want to think about the galaxies and chemicals and stars and stuff. I'd rather just think about the shape of the cosmos and how it could have started and inflated or whatever. And then I talk about chaos and fractals. This is really an introduction of chaos and fractals, which is really kind of the main bulk of the book, or the reason the book is written is really chaos and fractals. But it's looking at the way humans think between abstract thinking and the actual way nature works, which is chaos and fractals, is a big way to think about it, a really good way to think about actual matter and what happens in real life. Whereas abstract thought is what humans have come up with, which is brilliant, but we really need to think of everything in both ways. So then, as more of an exercise to get warmed up for the rest of the book, now we're going to go back and think about the cosmos in a fractal, about the real way that matter works and how everything's really kind of fractal in nature. And then we go through all these areas of life, looking at it through those two lenses, abstract thought and how real life works, and just kind of comparing and contrasting and seeing which ways help us think about things better and which ways kind of mess us up. So there's a little bit of both, really. So another thing that would be fun to talk about with you guys, if you're ever interested, is just like the book. A lot of the books, I read a gazillion books and papers helping me research for this book. And are any of these? I suppose this had some to do with it. It's inspirational. Let's All Fly into Space. Of course, Gödel, Escher, Bach. I'm kind of more of a probabilistic determinist, but yeah, so I'm like, I read this. I even get into economics. Just go to Thomas Sowell. He's such a clear explainer of economics. Ooh, I have a whole chapter about curiosity. This was a pretty good one. Not that many books just on curiosity, so let's see. Oh, and then I just had a lot of books that were already kind of on my shelf, but I remember this being a really good one that I loved. And oh, my friend Ed wrote this. He uses chaos theory to map trajectories for spacecraft. Super cool. Oh my gosh, of course this is my main Chaos and Fractals book. No, I did not read this cover to cover in one sitting. This is like a skip around book. But my favorite book of all time of chaos is my favorite book of all time. James Gleick's Chaos, Making a New Science. I just love this book. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, this was good. I'm not religious at all, and this is not a religious book, but yeah. Great book by Paul Davies. Carl Sagan. My goodness, if you've never read any kind of physics or space books of any kind and you just want to get into it, just go ahead and start with Carl Sagan. Easy reading. You don't have to know much to get into it. What was the first one? Pale Blue Dot, I would say. Just read that first. Pretty sure that's the first one I read. Oh, this is a good. So it's funny. Sean Carroll, I didn't really know much about him at all back when I read this, but I watched tons of his videos on YouTube now. He has a whole COVID series. He has like a gazillion videos about different science, space kind of videos he made especially for COVID. I should have just showed you guys my whole shelf. Oh my gosh. Okay. I Am a Strange Loop by Hofstadter and On Intelligence by Hawkins. Sorry, it took me a while to think of this. They're both H names. On Intelligence and I Am a Strange Loop you gotta read them. They're about brains. And I love On Intelligence so much that I never have it. I always end up giving it to someone and forcing other people to read them, and then I never get the book back. But that's how it should work. All right. I know I need to get to writing a song. Between online school starting for Alice and Mom's birthday and award and my computer breaking and just generally not always feeling like getting in front of a camera. Oh, and math. Bruce and I have been doing math every day, constantly. So if I disappear from Patreon for a while, and I know that can be annoying when you're paying money every month, it means I'm working on stuff. I never just don't do things. I obsessively work on stuff. So something will eventually come out of it. I promise. We're deep into trying to finish a math paper right now. Okay, anyway, love you guys, and thanks for sticking with me, and I'll try to be back soon.